Hey guys, it is Saturday here on Pagan Perspective. I am your host Brendan, and this week we are talking about Fae magic. So our questions today actually come from two separate posters with this, so I'll put their details and information questions below. So, looking at these questions this week, we have the first one's from Kay, so they're asking if we can talk a bit about Fae magic. Who's allowed to practice it? Do we believe you have to be of Fae lineage? If so, what does that mean? And then the second part is from Mateus Cabot. Hi guys, I'd love to see you guys, what you guys think, believe, or practice about fairies, fairy magic, Aine's goddess, and etc. I love this topic. So for me personally, within my wildwood practice, within my reclaiming practice, with all my own personal practice and connection over the, 17 years I've been practicing, so over half my life now. The Fae have always played a place and a part in all of that. Who can practice Fae magic? Anyone. Anyone who is willing to and daring enough to make a connection and a relationship with the Fae has the ability to practice Fae magic. And I think it is more, when I say this, it's more about connecting and allying with the Fae themselves and working within realms of their kind of magical skills and techniques. So this may look as simple as things like glamour, misdirection, but then it could also be like connection to nature, magic that helps plants grow, songs that will call a storm, those kind of natural forces that come out. I love to whistle the wind, and I think that's like a beautiful Fae kind of energy magic skill set that I've developed over the years, and just being able to like whistle up the wind, and it's little beautiful connections to like really that natural energy. But then we also go into deeper realms within Fae. So if we look at like, there's really different, I guess like a hierarchy system, but not so much. There's more kind of like wild Fae, cultured Fae, so you would be looking at like the Seelie and Unseelie courts. The She, which is Sidhe, which have this, a lot of lore and information around them. So the Seelie being seen as the shining ones, the shining court, and the Unseelie court being the dark and the mysterious ones. The Seelie court often being associated with illusions and misdirection and beauty and wonder, and often the Unseelie court can be seen as being dark and malevolent and untrusting. But for me, through personal experience, I've had deeper, stronger relationships with allies within the Unseelie court because they are very true to their word. You make a contract and you live by that contract. You break that contract and you're pretty much fucked. That's the nicest way to put it, but you stand by your word when working with the Fae. And in working with, I guess, more of the Seelie court, I've experienced more little nuances within trying to make contracts be very literal and very precise in your wording. Often trying to twist little loopholes and get more out of it than you agree to, really. But that's the same sort of interactions and relationships we can have with humans as well. But there's a nuance and skill that from my personal experience with the Fae, that I've not seen in many humans. What else was that? There was the lineage question. So it's been touched on by a couple of the other hosts this week about Fae lineage, and Danny and I think Yoka touched on it in talking about particular stories. So I've worked at a witch camp which worked the myth of Rhiannon and Pwlf and Oron and the land behind the land. So Oron was the king of the land behind the land known as the realm of Fae as fairy. Essentially, where we exist, there's a land behind that, and that's where the Fae tend to live. Also, spirits, ancestors, a whole bunch of different creatures and beings as well. And in this story, it really talks about Pwlth meeting Rhiannon and pursuing her. Rhiannon being the daughter of a Fae noble, and like a spirit of the land, and Pwlth being the current ruler within the human districts and realm, and really looking at their relationship between that and following their story, the courtship, and inevitably the two of them having a child, and that child disappearing, and all the stories that happen around there. So there are stories about children of Fae and human bloodlines. If you look at also the waves of invasion into Ireland and talking about those stories, that often human nobles would have a marriage to the land. I think it was Irish and Welsh, correcting myself there, but Irish and Welsh law. During those invasions sort of thing, there was always the Fae of the land, and it would be the humans would come in and marry the land, which essentially would be they would be marrying one of the daughters or children of the Fae rulers of those places, and bringing that human Fae world together. But I can understand through these stories and just experiences about this whole Fae lineage process. Taking something from Reclaiming, we talk about the red bloods and the green bloods. So the red bloods are humans, animals, the creatures of red blood, really living, present, physical, manifest beings here. And the green bloods are the Fae, they're the plants, there's the natural world in that sort of process. And there's stories and interactions of green blood running through red blood, and those that are like Fae kissed or Fae touched that can connect to nature more intuitively, and it comes naturally to them, and have wonderful skills and talents, and just they're different in that sense. So I can understand also that kind of real people that are more not susceptible but more naturally allied with Fae work and Fae magic. So moving into the second question, really, what do you see, think, believe, practice around fairy and all that sort of magic? So I spoke on a couple of things. If you make a contract with a Fae, hold your word. Always hold your word in that sense, or expect terrible repercussions if you ever break your oath or break your word. So don't ever promise anything that you can never deliver. Don't ever promise anything that is beyond your skills. Really stick to and be very precise about what you can offer, what relationship. And if you make a promise, keep that promise. And it's daring. To work with the Fae is really daring, like working with nature and working with gods and working with spirits. It's all risk and majesty and mischief, and it's fun. I love it, but it's also crazy wild and scary at times, and it's not for the faint of heart, really. It's not beautiful love and light work. It's really, sometimes things get fucking scary, and sometimes those become some of your best allies and really help shatter any illusions that might be surrounding you or holding you back from the truth. And start simple. Just really welcome plants into your household and call Fae spirits to come inhabit those places. So you might build a beautiful terrarium for them with like a little a fairy door sort of thing. Go find between places, so places that are between like realms of existence. So it might be as simple as like leaving offerings on a windowsill or at a door, or even inviting the Fae into the house by building a little door for them. Really opening that up to that sort of thing. Have a bowl of little like items that can be willingly lost. So things like it might be that you've lost one earring, put the other earring into the bowl. You might be surprised the other earring might show up, or that one that you have is going to disappear. Leave like little offerings like that, and always you can leave little offerings of foods as well, but if you do anything like that, I encourage you to leave offerings that could be eaten and digested easily by animals, because we have to think we often live in households with animals around and we don't want to leave offerings out that could easily poison or harm our animal friends. So things like honey and milk can be quite simple, or just simple sugar water, that sort of thing. Stick to the little traditions of like, if you feel like you're being pestered or bothered by perhaps a bit of a, not so much malevolent, but a mischievous spirit, if you scatter grains of rice onto the floor, often Fae spirits have the compulsion that they have to count everything. And while they're in that process, you can distract them and gently reposition them outside of your house. Also honor any of the little spirits that might be in your house currently. So if you notice that things just end up folded somewhere, or if you ask for certain items to come back, you find them quite afterwards, leave little offerings. So it might be like the bowl of lost items that can happily be lost, or it might be a little stockpile of coins somewhere, or yeah, the little offering bowl sort of thing. But just go have fun. Look up books and information. I'm trying to think which ones I could recommend, but if I think of any, I will post them into the bottom section below. I think Aine McCoy had a good book on Fae and just different spirits. Also, there's a couple others that are just blanking out of. Lucy Cavendish and Celine Connolly did a... Serene Connolly did an amazing book on fairy magic as well. And I'll post that information below, but there's resources everywhere out there, and check YouTube. I'm pretty sure I have a video, I know I have a video on my personal channel of welcoming the Fae that I did 3 or 4 years ago. Or otherwise, post questions below and I'm happy to answer anything that you may want to know. If you want pop culture references for Fae, Lost Girl, there's a couple of books by Lydia Angeles, which is like The Shining Isle, and something else, but it talks about like Faes and human existing within the same realm. So Laurel K. Hamilton also did a series called the Mary Gentry series, which is about a fairy princess, essentially, who helps unify the courts of Seelie and Unseelie. Yeah, I think that's most of the books that I can think right now. But yeah, pixie, fairy, banshee lore, all out there sort of thing. So yeah, that's it. I hope you have a wonderfully blessed weekend. Enjoy whatever you get up to, and if I don't see you beforehand, have a lovely dark moon with whatever working you choose to do. And I will see you next Saturday. So for now, much love and blessings.